it's Jill with cricflix, and happy Sunday. By the time I get this uploaded, it might be Wednesday or Thursday, but as of today, it's Sunday. What I'm working on today is the theme is Cadillac, and the colors are gold, black, and red. And the elements are going to be a set of the keys, one in red and one in black, a skyline, and a car, a Cadillac. I'm going to start out building it how it would be put together. This is a 6x6 by 6 inch box that I get from Uline, and this is actually in craft color. I think in the large, this particular size, which is the perfect size for me for a base, come in white, black, red, and craft. Now, they do sell gold and silver boxes, smaller, like for gift boxes. Number one, they're very, very costly, and I don't get them. But I wanted this gold, and I normally cover them with glitter. But with the expense of everything, where you get the glitter paper, I'm making 14 of these centerpieces. I cannot justify the cost of using $3 or $4 per box for the paper, because the 6x6, it's a 12 by 12 inch paper. I get the 4, and then I can get each side, but I can't get the top. And I was trying to figure out a way to do that without it being so unbelievably expensive, because I'm also adding lights into this centerpiece. And so what I decided to do is spray paint in a metallic gold. I picked up metallic gold paint and silver Rust-Oleum. This is the silver one. And never thought to do this, but they actually like them better than the glitter on them. I really, really like them. But since this box is being used as a base, this isn't going to be showing much because there's going to be a car in front of it. And then what I did is, these are the smaller little 4 by 3 inch bases that my husband makes. I had him spray gold that in gold as well. Typically, I go through the bottom, I punch a hole in the middle, and I glue a piece of wood back here to use it as the base. But lately, I don't know how long ago I started it, where I have him cut me out and have it just sit on top of the box, because it's sturdier when I glue them underneath the box and I set the piece on. The box lid has a tendency to kind of move. It's not as sturdy. And I found, well, my husband doesn't like it because it was easier doing the little chunks, because he makes these bases and he uses his router on every one of them. And it's a lot of work to make them, but it's even more expensive to buy them. But this is going to be my base to put my skyline. So I'm going to put that aside, because I'm going to start with putting my skyline together. And I'm going to use my regular... All of a sudden it got so hot in here. We're at the end of the summer season, so my husband's been closing the pool, and this entire next week or 10 days, it's supposed to be high in the mid to high 80s. And the kids are all calling, the pool's still open, because they all want to go swimming. And I'm like, no, it's not. Okay, here is the skyline. And there's little holes in some of the buildings. What I'm going to do is I'm going to make this so it lights up. Now, the lights that I'm using, I order on Amazon. However, I've seen now, for folks that maybe want to use something year after year after year, they do have them with a remote so you can turn them on and off. However, I'm not ordering those, because again, when you start to put that kind of money into a centerpiece, that I don't know if these, especially for a party, that you might save 1 or 2, but not 14 of them. Plus I already have the lights. But I've got a long enough cable here before the lights start that I put this inside the box, and then turn it on, put this inside the box, and close the box here where the wire's really tiny. But I want to make sure when I'm attaching it here that I'm attaching it in the right place. Now I want to take the middle of this and put my peg. And since this isn't real high, I'm going to wrong cutters. Didn't I just have that right here in front of me? It's a little too long, so I'm going to cut some off. I want this to sit flush to the base. Oh, I could have left it long. It didn't matter. That was kind of dumb. Oh, well. And as close to the middle as I can. It doesn't have to be exact. You don't have to measure it out because it's not that important. But I do want to make sure it's straight. Then I am going to put my popsicle sticks in here. I'm not going to be using my big old Mongos in these because they're too wide. Well, it might not be, guys. They might work. Then it would only need one on each side. You know what? One of these will work. That's how close I had it to being in the middle when I laid the next stick down. Because I just want it to be sturdy. That works. I guess I am using the big sticks. My bad. Now, no, I want to put the sticks down before I put the lights in. Oh. I was running out of my big glue sticks. Everybody wants to know where I get these big 15-inch glue sticks, and I get them on Uline, and I'm running out. So I thought, oh, I'm going to have to order some because I'm really down to the very end of them. And they are $180 for 300 sticks, but they're like 50 or 60 bucks to ship. So I decided I'm going to try and do them on Amazon. And so I got the 12-inch sticks. They just came yesterday or the day before. And I'm going to have to figure out how much it would cost me to buy equivalent to 300 of them. The shipping at Uline, I buy my boxes from them so people can understand. I go over the cost of shipping all the time. Practically, lately, every time I videotape, I'm talking about the shipping because everything has gotten so expensive. And it just, you got to figure where you can make your cuts. And these boxes, I decided, is where I'm going to start. Because the shipping boxes are just unreal. That's what drives a lot of my shipping costs, because I buy my boxes and you've got your bubble wrap, and probably don't want to hear about all this, but I'm just talking. I'm going to probably turn these on as I do this. Danita, I hope I don't pronounce your name wrong, but I hope you don't mind. I am sending these, but these will not be with batteries in them. I'll be sending you the light, but there will not be batteries in all the light. I mean, there won't be batteries in them. I don't ship when I use lights. And if I'm using one light, I might have a battery in it, but when I've got to use 14 of them, they won't have batteries. Now, I'm trying to just place these lights and use up all this extra wire I have. So some of the lights will be sticking out a little bit differently because I want them to show. And this cardstock that I used is very, very thick. And if I put these lights behind the paper, they're not going to show. So I've got to get them up right on the edge so that when you put it together, the lights actually show. Yep, there we go. Yep. But I got a lot of extra cable in here and I don't want it flopping all over the place. So I've got to glue it down as I go here. And bring this up a little bit over here. There we go. And back. And when you are putting lights on them, you know, I'm just following the buildings and putting them wherever I can hide most of the extra wire. Oops, I guess a little glue where there would help. Oh, there we go. I'm sacrificing my fingers for this. Glue is hot. Hot. I'm going to come up here. I'm going to look and research a little bit more on the lights and see if I can find them, that the lights are a little closer together, maybe a shorter string, because there's a lot there's a lot of lights here. Not a lot of lights, a lot of string. Lots of string. Lately I have been doing a lot of the silhouette heads. They're pink, Barbie. I call them Barbie heads, but it's not actually a Barbie. They look like Barbie. But I had an issue the other day where everything showed like it buckled on these silhouettes where I put the sticks, and I don't know why. And I was having an issue, and I want to know if anybody else has had this problem that's a silhouette user. Wednesday, I was having a lot of troubles with my computer, just horrific. So I finally called Apple, which I procrastinated on because whenever I get on the phone with Apple, I'm usually on there for hours, and I was on the phone with them for 4 hours. However, I have 2 iMacs, and one I haven't used in 2 years because I can't even get online with it. And I worked with one of the agents there in tech support, and we completely erased everything on my Mac and erased everything. I had nothing on it. I didn't have any of my apps or anything on it, and actually did it to both of them, and they now work like they did the day I got them. Just awesome. I kept thinking it was my internet, and every time I call my internet provider, they're always telling me it's not, it's your equipment. I was like, it's not my equipment. But then I thought, logically, having been in tech support for 17 years, I wasn't using any logic. Everything else in the house would work but my computer, so that right there was a dead giveaway. But anyway, I just erased everything. They were all bogged down with I don't know what, and rebuilt them basically, and they were working absolutely awesome. So then I went to start to work because I have so much work to do. So I finally got it up and running, and I went to do my first project, and I got a message that said an update available, update now, and underneath it was a little place to click on and update. So I did it because it wouldn't let me go past it. You didn't have the option to update later. You had to do it now or never. And so I did, and from there went the nightmare. It would not update. It would just, my brand new machine, I shouldn't say brand new, this year. So to me it's brand new since I've got like 10 machines. But my new machine would not cut because it said the update wouldn't go through. So I deleted I uninstalled the Silhouette Studio, as a matter of fact, 6 times. I shut everything down. I rebooted everything. I did everything. I pulled out 3 old machines. One of them was a machine from 13 years ago. I pulled it out, and it worked. I didn't have an issue. However, there was principle at stake here. I was not going to use a 13-year-old machine that cut slower than molasses in January when I had a brand new machine. I sent 7 messages to Silhouette asking for help, and no one called me. They never did call me, and my messages were getting nastier each time because I was really getting mad. I had a lot to do, and they do not have a support call number anymore. Supposedly, they don't on their website. So I went and Googled it and found a support number for Silhouette. So I called it and told them what was going on. They said, okay, we'll get you a senior advisor on the phone. So if you hang on a minute, I'm going to send you a link. I want you to fill that out and just hang on. The advisor will be on the phone with you. So it takes me to a link that says, oh, I can't remember what it said. Pissed Off was the name of it. Pissed Off was the name of the link. Well, that told me something right there when that was the name of it, that obviously they only handled people that were not happy or whatever. And then they told me put my credit card information in there, and they would only charge me $1 and reimburse me. I'm like, I'm not putting my credit card in there. However, when I went back to my chat, I couldn't write anything back on the chat. They send you to that somewhere else and they just leave you. So I hung up and I started a new chat. So she said the same thing, and I said, no, I am not giving you my credit card information. Why would I give you my credit card? And so I said, this is getting really bogus. And so I closed that one out again, and I said that's some third party or somebody, I don't know what, but I was not going to do it. So I didn't. And of course I was not happy, but I'd also upgraded. I had my software, when I reinstalled it, I had the newest version the download on the website, because it's the only one I could find. But I went online and I went over to my daughter-in-law, who has a machine, to check to see if my machine would work at her house. Wanted to verify, is there something going on with my internet now that I did my computer, and did I mess something up? I don't know what, but just thinking outside the box, what could possibly be. I go over there and I hook my machine up, and it goes on right away. No message to update, nothing. So I went and looked for hers and found what version of software she was working on and wrote it down. And I came home and downgraded both of mine. I had to go through Google to research to find the software version that I needed. I tried to downgrade to another software version I found on Google, but it didn't work. So then I used the one that she actually had, and it worked. So I got both of them up and running, and I was so thrilled. It took me 3 days. 3 days, and I had so much work to do and couldn't do anything. I lost the entire 3 days messing around with trying to get some help from Silhouette. Apple's fantastic, but Silhouette's support now is horrible. It's horrible. If I didn't love their machine so much, I would use somebody else just out of principle. But anyway, the end of the day I started working again, and all of a sudden my machine's not cutting. I had worked all day yesterday and it was just fine. So I tried to work today and it wouldn't cut. And I went down to my husband and I said, you're not going to believe it. And he says, is it bad? And I said, yeah, it's bad. I was so mad. And so I told him, and he goes, is it something you're doing? And of course, it's always something I'm doing. If it doesn't work, it's got to be something I'm doing. And I said, there's nothing that I'm doing. But that turned out the blade was just, apparently the blade was bad, or it wasn't in right. I swapped the blade out and then it started cutting. But I've had a couple rough days here, guys, to say the least. If it takes me long to do these lights on 14 of these, I might be in some trouble. This is taking a while. Sorry about that, but I really want them to show. So I want to make sure I put them where they're going to show. And I don't want the wire showing. So I'm weaving back and forth so that none of the wire sticks out past the building. But anyway, guys, that's how my last week went. I only have my little Mila, who I've been taking care of since she was a baby, started kindergarten. So I now only have her. I don't have her. She's in school full time. I only have my sons, Ellie and Peter, the 2- and 4-year-old. Ellie's got pre-K, so she goes to school in the afternoon, and Peter naps. But my time availability has gone. I mean, it's awesome. However, I don't know if I wanted that one there. I have to see. I might have to. Now I'm going to have to move this one down because I need to stick this in the box. And if I have a light there, I'm not going to be able to put it in the box. So I'm going to peel that off and put it over here. Anyway, Wednesdays, Thursdays, and Fridays are my actual work days now. And it's working out good if and only when my equipment's working. But I've had a rough few days. And there we go. Let me see. From this side, I see strings of hot glue. Now, I know that you can take a gun and shoot it on there and it'll melt all these. But guys, I'm not going to do that on my lights because as hot as my gun is, I don't want it melting anything on my lights. If something went wrong, it would roll me into another bad day, and I'm not in the mood for that. This one came off. They will stay a lot better once I get the other side on. This one's a little bit I went in and had my nails done last week. And the woman who did them, I don't know if she's ever done them before, but my God, she had them as thick as turtle shells on there. And I kept saying to her, these are really, really thick. And she said, oh, they won't be when I'm done. I'll file them down. It's such a light color and I hate them. Light color. And she said, it'll, when I file them down. Well, they didn't. They're horrible. But I feel so bad. I don't want to go back in there and complain because I really, really, really like these people. And I'm not one to complain and hurt somebody's feelings, but so I was trying to find another salon to go to just to get them redone just because I hate the way she did them. I think they're horrible. They're so thick. And I hate the color too, but that's not her fault. But I don't know why she had to make them so thick. She said, you had light color underneath there, the blue, and if I did them the other way, they would show through. And I go, well, when everybody else does them, you can't see through them. So it doesn't matter what color's underneath because they take all the blue off or whatever color I had on. She didn't take it all off. So if she'd done that, you wouldn't be able to see through. Got it, I got it. Okay. There, we got the lights going. Now, I have to go back and I'm going to have to glue down each one of these. I better get going on these. These are time-consuming to glue. So, and hopefully now that I rebuilt my computers, maybe it's not going to take 3 days for my photos to upload. Everything's been working so good, so I'm going to keep my fingers crossed that what was happening is I was recording on my phone and it was taking, 3 days before it would even show up through the cloud on my iMac. But then it would take forever to load. You couldn't open it up because it wasn't totally uploaded on my computer. And so it would take another few days for the film to load where I could make my iMovie. And I haven't tried it since I fixed the computer. So if that starts working too, I'm going to be on a roll. I can feel it. Except, guys, I'm going to tell you, these are not easy to do. But I love them when they're done. There we go. And see, even though the light is just very, very, very on the edge, and one is actually sticking through one of these window holes here in this tower, but if I do them on the very, very edge, you can see them really good. But if I put them right directly behind to shine through, they don't. The black, it just doesn't shine through the way that I would want them to. So that is the reason for putting the light on the outside. Went and saw my new baby. He's 3 weeks old now, Landon. Had dinner at my son's daughter-in-law's the other night and got to see, well, I had already seen him. They live 5 minutes away, but I have been just having one issue after another that I haven't been able to go over there to see him. So they invited us over dinner on Friday and got to see him, but he's still so tiny. Having a little bit of an issue gaining weight. So the first 2.5 weeks, they had to weigh him every day and take him in once every other day for the doctor to weigh him. But he's finally gaining. My daughter-in-law produces skim milk. My daughter produces heavy whipping cream, and my other daughter produces whole milk. So every single one of them, the quality of their breast milk is so different. But I really believe the reason he's not gaining is the quality of her milk. I don't think she has enough fat in her milk. So she's been eating all these things that are supposed to help make her milk fatter. But this is her last baby, and she really would like to nurse because she hadn't been able to for the last couple of them. But I don't feel optimistic that it's going to work for her, because she has to pump right after she nurses, and it's a lot of work when you got 3 other kids to take care of. Let me see. Okay, we got this part. It's going to go on the box, and again, this is going to go inside the box, and close it. Now, Danita, if you want, what you can do is just tug in the cable, or, you know, kind of mess with it so you can hide it. I don't know how your setup's going to be, so you can hide that. The next thing that goes with this is one of the Cadillacs. The Cadillacs will all be glittered, and these are 18 inches, and the 18 inches on these centerpieces, like in any that I've said, it's either by length or by height. This is by length. I can't make it 18 inches tall because that would make this car this long. Which I've mentioned numerous times. Whichever comes first, height or oh, I don't need a peg on that. I was going to put a peg on it. I don't. These are going to go attached directly to the box. So all I'm going to do on these is put a few sticks, or a couple. I don't need to put, I want to overlap them a little bit so they don't bend right in the middle. This is just to make them nice and sturdy. Because I haven't glittered this side. I glittered the fronts, but I'm not going to glitter the back sides because the back side isn't really going to show. I just don't want it white. From if you were to see a little bit of it sticking out, I don't want it white. But you're not going to see the glitter or noticeable because, again, this is the back side of the car. So when I, oh, I almost glued it to my mat. So when I put it on the box, it's really not showing. It's not supposed to be showing from the back, it's showing from the front. Now, these are all going to be attached. Now, what I did on this one, it's supposed to be gold, and this is kind of a light gold, taupey gold, between taupe and gold. But what I did is the glitter that I did on it, I did it in gold so that it would just pick up a little bit more of a gold tint. And on these also, I cut the wheels out separately, and I pop dotted them. You can't tell by looking on the camera, but in person, the hubcaps stick out. They are pop dotted. And those will be attached directly to the box. And tape gun, here it is. Okay, I'm gonna tape it like this. And just stick it to my gold box. And again, there'll be another one from the other side. This will be double-sided, so need a little dab of glue there. So there is the main part of the centerpiece. And then, and I'm not real sure how the keys are going to be used, but these are 18-inch pair of keys, and this is how they print out. Now, what I did is I had to go in there and extract my colors and cut out the shape that was that color, because this red was really, really light and this black was more like gray. So what I did on my software is I extracted this piece, then I colored it the darker, and then I made a new sign, a new symbol here so that it was darker. However, the keys themselves are kind of gray and red. What I did is I cut the keys off, or I cut them out and sprayed them gold. So what I did to get the key, the lines on the key, I had glittered them with just some clear glitter prior to spraying them gold. And then I put that, what did I do with the pair that was, oh, it is right here. Tape that directly on to the paper ones. And that's after I sprayed it gold. I was going to try and spray gold them by making a mask to cover the part of my key here, but I'm never real confident that it's not going to slip through, and I did not want that gold paint slipping through onto my keys and have to redo my keys. So I didn't do it that way. I did it this way. I took my software and I cut the key out. And I had an offset on them which is still a little bit there, but a little bit more than I wanted. So I'm just trimming that down. And I did that on all of them down to the color. But since I'd already had the keys all cut out before I decided to do it this way, I would rather cut them by hand than cut out 28 more sets of keys. And they still match up because I cut out in the exact same spot on all of them was the outline. So then we have a set of keys. She wanted the peg a little bit longer, just a few inches longer. So that's what I'm going to do. And then we'll pair those together. Whoops. About 3 inches longer, more or less. So let's, whoops, that's not 3 inches. There, we got about 3 inches. Anita, you're going to have to show me how you're putting the keys. I have no idea what you're doing with those. Those will not be going on the centerpiece, folks, for the piece that I just put together. I'm not sure what how the keys are going to be sitting, but I'm sure I'll have some pictures when one is set up. So now I'm going to just use some little sticks along the way here. You know, when I mentioned that I was making those silhouette hats, Barbie or whatever, the sticks had shown through. What I think might be part of the issue was they're a solid color. And I think when you're gluing your sticks on, there's no way you can prevent it showing completely unless you were to use half-inch thick paper. I mean, it just isn't possible. At least I don't know how it would be, unless you make them double thick, which I did. But I don't want to get in the habit of doing that either, because it already takes enough of this paper. And if you have to cut everything out double, a lot of that stuff nowadays, I hate to bring that up again, but the prices on everything have gone up so much. I just went to order my paper now, and I used to get a ream of 250 sheets for $39, I think it was $39. Now I went to order it. I could only buy them in 4 reams for $235 for 4 reams of paper, of this paper. Well, I think what happens is its demand drives. And this paper probably did not get used much until crafting. And I don't want to say till my videos. However, I do know stuff that I used to get. I couldn't get any more. They were always out. My husband always says I shot myself in the foot doing videos, but whatever. Because then I couldn't get the paper, and now it's unbelievable, the price now. The paper is just, well, everything is. They say this happens every election year, and I probably have never paid as much attention as I have this year, but unfortunately, life has gotten quite expensive. Okay, now whenever I close these, where I put the glue down, I try and make sure I do across to the same height, so that when I fold this piece back, I don't have to try and get in over here. I need it all glued in. I don't know if I'm explaining that right at all, but sometimes you get backed into a corner, like cleaning the floor in a room, and all of a sudden you're in the corner, no way out. It's with gluing these. If you don't glue and place down in the right section, you will get stuck where you can no longer fold your paper back to finish gluing. And I'm sure that's not making any sense. It makes sense to me though. And right now I'm talking to myself. Okay, there are the keys with the gold on them. And again, I don't know where they're going to go on here. This will have another side. Whoops. Oops, 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 oops. This will have another side, and these keys will be with it somehow. So I don't know if it's over them, if it's on another platform. I don't know. But when I find out, I will let you know. Thanks for watching, everybody. And I hope that this has been filming. And have a great day. Bye-bye.